Question is, tell us, where were you on 14 and 15 November? Now I deal with that. Bearing in mind that the issue relates more to what might have or might not have happened in the afternoon on either of those days. So I'm at pains. What I was expecting to be delved into by way of investigation is not done. So, painful though it is, I must come and testify here. The whole universe is watching about something that is a lie. So, on the 14th, so I went to Mthatha on the 13th, by the way. I put up in Mthatha. Mthatha is my hometown. I put up on the 13th of March in Mthatha. In the morning at 9 o'clock, there was a meeting, and I say 9. There was a meeting of judges. Mr. Kokwana was to address judges because there had been a concern expressed by a colleague who had not been paid SNT. So I thought it prudent that Mr. Kokwana would explain at that meeting, explain something about what the processes are. So 9 o'clock on the 14th, I had a meeting with judges. There's a document which is of some significance that I would like to refer to. If the chairperson and honorable members can bear with me, because it's very important when I talk to refer to something. So I'm looking for this document that embodies a suggestion that I'm just gonna look for it. It's got to do with unhappiness on the part of a colleague because she had not been paid for having attended a conference of Saula. So I called upon Mr. Kokwana from the administrative side as representative of the OCJ dealing with admin matters to address judges. So I'm looking for this letter just to show that there was such a thing as a concern on the part of a colleague. And there had been endeavors on the part of the colleague concerned to have this matter threshed out in a judges meeting, but I decided that the matter should be dealt with at a local level, which is what I did in the morning. So 9 o'clock, I was with judges. The meeting, the person who was addressing judges is Judge, is Mr. Kokwana. He testified here. At 9:30, I had, as said by Ms. Nzindlenkai, an application for leave to appeal. Feel free to help me, counsel. I think in the end,
page 144. Page 144.
Page 144. Page 144. Thank you. Oh yes, here are these documents. So, page 144. Let's go to page 145. Mr. Kokwana is addressing Deputy Judge President of Mthatha, page 145. Forget about what is above. Dear DJP, kindly find attached an email from President of Saula, which is self-explanatory for you. For your accommodation cannot be paid from government funds. Then I don't know what happened. The invitation does not something. Then it says, should she not be happy with this decision? She's at liberty to approach Mr. Kesi Kutsa. So there was unhappiness on the part of a judge in relation to attendance of conferences such as Saula, and Mr. Kokwana from the administrative side of things had to address on behalf of the OCJ nationally, or the national office had to address judges. So I'm in that tea room where we converged at 9. I was there. Why did I go to Mthatha on the 14th? Why did I go to Mthatha on the 14th? Among other things, let's have a look at page 147. This is a directive I issued in respect of Mvuleni versus the state. By directive of Judge President Mbenenge, the application for leave to appeal shall be heard at the High Court Mthatha on Monday, 14 November 2022 at 9:30. So there's nothing very magical about 9:30 and what was said or what was not said. Within the context that we know, it is alleged that this thing occurred in the afternoon. But it is incumbent on me to make a clean breast of what happened on the 14th. So page 147 tells us why I had to be in Mthatha at the very latest at 9:30. There was an application for leave to appeal. The parties had been directed to file heads of argument. Then things were specified. We all know that heads of argument need not necessarily be filed in an application for leave to appeal. But from time to time, judges issue directives calling upon parties to issue heads of argument. Sometimes because you want to hear them virtually, or sometimes you want to hear them by way of heads of argument without any oral argument. But in this instance, there was an application for leave to appeal to be heard on Monday, 14 November at 9:30 in the morning. What happened then at 9:30? We had dispersed, by the way. We left the meeting towards 9:30. The understanding was that because there was a bit of heated debate and the meeting thought that the judge consent and then ADJP Dokota should meet the judge consent so that she could ventilate her problems in relation to what she believed she was being refused. So 9:30, this is what happened. So when perusing the documents before I got to Mthatha, I picked up that there was no compliance with my earlier directive. So let's read at page 149, Chairperson and honorable members. The application for leave to appeal is removed from the roll of 14 November. So already there was non-compliance with the previous directive. But then the applicant for leave to appeal is directed to compile a complete and paper record of the trial proceedings. It's clear from a reading of this. When I was setting out to prepare for this day, I found that the papers were what I believe a chairperson has heard before. It's normally referred to as dog's breakfast. Within the context of the court, judges have said this when papers are not in order. So when perusing this file, I picked up that the file was not in order. So I directed the way I did. Then already when this was issued, I can't see the second page. When this directive was issued, I knew that the matter would not proceed at 9:30. That is why I said the parties are directed to attend a case law management conference at the JP's Chambers Mthatha on 14 November 2022 at 9:30. So 9:30, that is what I was supposed to do. Let's talk about tea time at 11. In Mthatha, the tradition is that work is allocated to judges before Monday. 9:30 court starts. Anything happens in court, cases collapse or not collapse. But the tradition was, ladies and gentlemen, let's convene meetings at 11, so on Monday, especially on Monday, so that whoever's case has collapsed may declare their availability. So that's what normally happens at 11. So that's what happened. Shortly thereafter, I'm not sure whether it was 11:15 or 11:30 or around about that time. That is when this event about me commenting about the complainant's attire, that's when it happened, around that time. So it was in the morning. So the meeting involving the judge concerned took place just before lunch, around 12:30 or 1:45, but it was not a lengthy meeting. It was a meeting involving me, Dokota ADJP, the judge concerned, and some interested judge who had come there to be part of the meeting. So when the judge concerned got there, she adopted the stance that she was no longer complaining. She was no longer concerned about being not paid when attending conferences such as Saula and so on and so forth. And we left it at that. It became incumbent on me to report to judges on the following day So here am I, lunch hour. I left for lunch. But in the course of getting myself money, I do remember that I had a card. So when I inserted it at the ATM, I had a problem of mixing a number because we deal with these codes 246810 or 5789 and so on. So the card, I think, was swallowed. And then I had to go to the bank. I have had to trace my way back in relation to the 14th because all of a sudden we've had to deal with the 14th. After the passage of time, I managed to lay my hands on things, objective facts that will at least shed light in relation to what happened on the 14th. So I was there at the bank, I was attended to, I left the bank and got back to chambers. Let's go to page 150. 150 is the tracker report for the 14th. We now know why I did not request that tracker report initially. The case that I had been called upon to meet was about the 15th. When there was an element of vacillation, I had to trace my way back to the 14th. So this is what I got. This document is to be held in this fashion, not the usual way, but this fashion. I'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. JJL 482EC, it's obviously a government-owned vehicle, tag not present. 1514 Errol Spring Avenue, Mthatha. Errol Spring, that is where Standard Bank is located, Beating Gaps building. I hope you found it, Chairperson and honorable members. I know it's not going to be very easy, especially...
Well, I haven't found it.
You haven't found it?
I have not found it.
All right. So, Chairperson, are you holding this document
JP,
this way?
I was just wondering if I need that.
We need it.
I don't know. Do we need that information?
Do we need that information? Yes, we do.
Yeah, take me to 21.
We do need this information. Page 150. This is the tracker report that was generated in respect of the 14th. Remember, I had generated one in respect of the 15th.
Chair,
But
can I give you which is marked already?
Maybe
It's
you
the
can
same page.
count from bottom.
Okay.
oh yes, that's the best.
From the bottom.
Yes, that's the best. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. From the bottom.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes.
So, JJL 482 EC is the car that I was driving. At 1514 on 14 November, that is the time when I left Errol Spring Avenue, Mthatha. That is where Standard Bank is located, Beating Gaps Shopping Mall. That's where it is located, 908 Errol Spring Avenue, Mthatha. And then 1520 on 14 November, 1520. That is when I arrived at 64 Leeds Road, Mthatha, which is where the court building is. I'm realizing I'm a fast driver. It took me a very short period to leave Beating Gaps to get to Mthatha. Anyway, I got to the parking lot as indicated there at 1520. That is when I arrived at the parking lot. I would have parked my vehicle, moved upstairs or used an escalator to my office, which would then give me something like 15:30 when I arrived at my chambers. So when I get there, I'm told the lecture on default judgments will take place. The people concerned would still love to have you address them on default judgments. So between 15:30 and 1615, and I must confess, as far as I can recall, that is the position. So for that period, I was in my chambers. From time to time, I was still working on this article that I'm very proud of, which was published in the Obiter, the NMU Law Journal. Intermittently, I would work on that. I didn't have to prepare for the lecture because it dealt with broad things. So I am led to a court. The court is full to the brim of attorneys to be addressed by me. I am led to that building, to that courtroom by Ms. Nkai. And indeed, in light of the fact that the case, the leave to appeal had collapsed, so it meant that there was no need of her on the following day. I released her. She's testified about whatever happened. I'm not privy to everything, but I'm just saying it is indeed so that I released her, because the only thing that was outstanding was for me to give a report to colleagues at 11 on the 15th about the meeting that was held in my chambers. So in the afternoon on the 14th, I went into Court A, I addressed attorneys. I then left around 6:15 or 6:30. Then that will be 1820, there it is. 64 Leeds Road, that's when I left. To where I put up, which is 68 Cumberland Road, Mthatha. And it took me about 5.3 minutes. Of course, it's not far from the courtroom. So I did address attorneys on default judgment related topics. I have demonstrated to the tribunal that for some other reason, this thing about default judgments had become a thorny issue. And when I finished the lecture, I discovered that I could no longer use my fingers to open. Actually, even the court door had shut me in. So I went out through the main court door, went to security officers who accompanied me to my office. I picked up my bag, I left. That was on the 14th. On the 15th, I was in my chambers in the morning, waiting mainly for the 11 o'clock meeting. Indeed, at 11, I met judges, I gave them a report that whatever thorny issue there was on the previous day, it has been resolved. At 12, I left. I've already pointed to the tracker report of the 15th. I believe it is relevant because a determination has to be made on this crucial issue. So in a nutshell, that is about 14 and 15. Let me reiterate that on the 14th, the only time I met Ms. Mengo was when we interacted about her dress code. That was the last time I saw her. Chairperson, with your leave, I see it's going for 1 o'clock, but I think it is incumbent on me, and this is something I will deal with when I leave this topic. It is incumbent on me, at least for now, to refer to the testimony of Ms. Mengo relative to what happened allegedly on the 14th, side by side with the CCV footage, notes, Exhibit 5. Alternatively, I might just request that that thing be played there so that I make my comments, but I will juxtapose that with what was said by Ms. Mengo in these proceedings relevant to the 14th. Could I be afforded the opportunity to break a bit at this point, to take a break, so that I deal with that when we resume, which will be the last aspect, I believe, relative to 14 and or 15 or 15 or 15, whatever the case may be.
I should hear from Mr. Sikakali and not from the witness.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Yes. Chair, thanks. I think it's the right time. As you'll see, this is no ordinary witness, and I think it helps the tribunal that I do not interject with questions. This is the judge president. He can do so. I'm going to approach the next one in the same way, where there are themes, and I think it's less disruptive than me interjecting with questions. So we will deal with the next themes. He'll finalize this point, and then we'll deal with the next themes. And with your leave, I would suggest that we break now and deal with the next two or so themes. Thank you, Chair.
Let us come back at 1:45. We adjourn now.